What's up, everybody? Welcome to Last Men Standing, the Circa Survivor podcast. I'm here with Grant Cohn. Grant has been covering the 49ers for how long now? Almost 2 decades now, Grant,
15 right? 15 years, man. I'm
15
old.
15 years. Oh, my goodness gracious. Long time. Originally with the Press Democrat, now with SI.com. He knows this team very well. He is very much an insider, so I'm looking forward to picking his brain and talking specifically later in the show about the 49ers schedule, because let me recap for you guys how the 49ers have broken the hearts of Survivor Bowl players in the past. Last year, they lost as 7-point favorites to the Cardinals. They lost as 6-point favorites to Seattle. 2023, they lost as 7-point favorites to Minnesota. They lost as 9.5-point favorites to the Browns. And then, of course, in 2022, week 1 against the Bears, they lost that game in the rain as 6.5-point favorites to Chicago. So this is a team that, under Kyle Shanahan, has lost a lot of games that it shouldn't have. So I want to pick Grant's brain. We're going to put the schedule up on the screen, and Grant is going to try to kind of help us identify some of those trap games for the 49ers that we might think are easy wins, but maybe they're not. So we're going to dive into that. But first, Grant, we got a little bit of breaking news here, buddy. I'm so excited because I had you scheduled for this interview, and then all of a sudden we see Brian Robinson Jr. traded to the 49ers, and I'm like, that lucky me. Great timing, breaking news. We get to talk about that. How did you hear about the news today, and what was your day like with that news coming in?
All right, so it's been training camp for the last month, and it's usually the most work-intensive time of the year for me, and it's great because it's like, business is booming. You can't complain, but it's exhausting. And the last day of training camp was yesterday. So I had this one day off between camp and the last preseason game. And I was foolish enough to think, man, I'm gonna go play some golf. 8:20 tee time, thinking I'll be done by noon. Nothing big is gonna happen. 4th hole, Brian Robinson Jr. traded. I'm like, man, this is a great trade. This is such a good move for the 49ers, but I hate it. And I really wish they hadn't done this.
Yeah.
Even though I told them to do it. So that's the reason I didn't golf well today. I was probably going to shoot a 79, but the Niners made me shoot a 97. It's their fault.
You say it's a great trade for the 49ers. I agree, but why do you say that?
I mean, it's so what they needed to do. I don't understand why they traded Jordan Mason, but they did. And they thought, like, it's okay. We have Patrick Taylor Jr. We have Isaac Guerrero. We have Jordan James. Well, all those guys are hurt. And now they have a guy who's actually maybe as good or better than Jordan Mason. I mean, maybe more durable, more proven, So he played at Alabama, has started a bunch of games, good in short yardage, great compliment to Christian McCaffrey. Not a clone of Christian, but a good compliment. So I think it's what they needed.
Cheaper too, right? They save a tiny bit of money. I couldn't believe that Washington was going to chip in on some of that contract, because it's like $3.4 million or something like that. So that kind of blew my mind that they were willing to even help the Niners out on that price. So this seems like a great deal for them for a 6th-round pick. I thought the Sky Moore trade, I was like, that doesn't really move the needle for me, but a 6th-round pick for Robinson seems like great value for me.
It is great value, but at the same time, like you're doing this because you traded away Jordan Mason and so many players are injured that you're now trading away picks in 2026 and 2027 to fill holes, which is pretty much the definition of desperation. That being said, I like the move. It seems like a no-brainer. It makes them better. They were in a position where if Christian McCaffrey wasn't healthy for a game, they would lose. And now they can survive a Christian-less week or two. Absolutely. I still don't think they can survive a week without Trent Williams, but that's that. And we're going to talk about that later, when to pick the 49ers. It's hard because if you're trying to, I don't know, it's like week to week, who's healthy of their 8 core players? If 2 of them are hurt, you might not want to pick them. If one of them is hurt and they're playing a semi-good team, you might not want to pick them. But if everyone's there, they're going to be good.
So this is interesting because for people who don't know, the 49ers, the last 5 years, besides 1 year, have consistently been one of the most injured teams in the NFL. Warren Sharp just had a great tweet where he outlined it in detail, okay? And so if that pattern continues and the 49ers injury woes to their starters continue, Grant, you've been beating the drum for the last month, maybe longer, saying this team doesn't have depth at several positions. So if you're a survivor pool player out there, I'm just talking to my audience here, there's an argument to be made to using the 49ers early in the season because they're the healthy. I don't know about week 1 against Seattle. We can talk about that. But early-ish in the season, because then they at least have Trent Williams. They have CMC at that point. They have George Kittle at that point. But at the same time, you're not going to have Ayuk.
That's what I was going to say.
Marcus Robinson. So just something to consider. Like in survivor pools, I think about guys like Tua, who's an injury risk and behind a bad offensive line, a guy like Stafford, who has a back problem. The idea of using guys like that, teams like that early in the season, because if you can get by when the starters are healthy, and then other people in the pool have to use a team like that when the guys are banged up, that's going to work to your advantage potentially.
Here's the way I look at the Niners. They have an easy schedule. We know that. They get to face the AFC South and the NFC South and the Browns and the Bears and the Giants. Those are a lot of wins there. But they also have to face their own division. And they were 1-5 in their division last year. And in the first 5 weeks of the season, with 3 division games. They have Seahawks in Seattle week 1, Arizona week 2, and I believe at home, and then Rams week 5. How many of those games are they going to win without Brandon Ayuk?
Oh, that's a good question. I thought week 2 was against the Saints. Am I mistaken? I thought
they should be fine week 2 against the Saints, and I forget who they have week 4, but probably no one. It's not a division game. The division games are the ones that without Ayuk, you wonder Is Ricky Pearsall going to do it? Maybe. We'll see. Yeah.
And he's the Cardinals gave the Niners fits last year.
That's going to be tough.
Yeah.
It's going to be really tough for him. Yeah.
Good call. The Cardinals gave the Niners fits last year, and I think the Cardinals are vastly improved last year compared to last year. I think the Cardinals are going to be actually a decent team. They got 7 new starters on defense, or 5 new starters in their front 7 on defense, excuse me. That's going to be interesting to see those matchups. Speaking of the Cardinals, the 49ers lost the game last year to the Cardinals, mainly because Jake Moody got hurt in the game. That was devastating to Survivor Pool players. I want to ask you about Jake Moody. You and I were each at the Super Bowl when he missed an extra point, did later hit a very deep kick in a clutch situation in the Super Bowl. Where is this guy's headspace right now? I know he had that game winner in the preseason game. You're seeing him in practice. I think sometimes when players are going through these things, they try to pretend to be a little more confident than they are. And it's just for show. And sometimes people are just legit confident. What do you think about Jake Moody coming into the season?
I think he's legit not confident. I think it's all over his face. And I think it's hard for the team to be confident in him. And I think they're trying their best to pump him up. And they're making so much out of these kicks that he made to win a preseason game when he actually had a miss and a near miss in the game as well. He's shaky at best. And then yesterday in camp, he missed another 2 kicks. I mean, does he have a strong leg? Yeah. Is he erratic as hell? Yeah. If they keep him on the team, are they going to cut him midseason as soon as he costs them 1 game? Probably. So what are we doing? Why are you kidding yourselves? You know you don't trust him because he's untrustworthy. You could cut him right now and just, it feels like sunk cost fallacy. You spent a 3rd round pick on him, so you want to give him 8 chances. All right, man, how many games are you going to let him lose for you before you just say, you know what, enough's enough? It should be 0, but I feel like it's going to be 1 or 2, which is too bad. That could be the difference between making the playoffs and not.
Yeah, and the fact that they spent that high draft pick on him and Wisnowski too, who's now gone. I mean,
no one else picked him up.
Such questionable decisions there. Where do you think things went wrong with Moody? Because there is an argument to be made, and I can buy what I'm about to say. I don't know if I believe it 100%, but there was an obvious injury last year, right? And injuries can mess with your mechanics. So I think there is an argument to be made that some, not all, but some of his issues last year may have been related to injuries, even before the injury that knocked him out for some time, right? Maybe there was some stuff that we didn't know about. Pie chart, percentage this for me. How much of Jake Moody's struggles last year, we're speculating, we don't know, but just what does your gut tell you were because of that injury?
It's hard to say. I would say less than the Niners want you to believe. They're trying to make it seem like it was 90% of his issues, when to me it feels like 25%. And can I just say something as like an old curmudgeon? I'm 37, but I'm going on 80. Dude, you were on the field. I don't want to hear about you being hurt. You're either on the field or you're not on the field. If you're hurt, then don't play. You wanted to play. You weren't on the freaking injury report. I don't want the excuse. If you got an issue, then sit down. That's how I feel. So I think it's a poor excuse. And I think you look back at his rookie year when he wasn't hurt, he made 84% of his field goals. That was okay. And then you look at his college stats, his last year at Michigan, he made 83% of his field goals. I don't think he's that great. I think he's got a big leg. Remember Sebastian Janikowski? Yeah. He has really strong leg, but a 39-yarder, he could miss that easily. And I feel that way about Jake Moody.
Greg Zuerlein.
He could have a 20-year career, but I think he's going to bounce around the league.
Yeah. And Greg Zuerlein might be a fair comparison too, with a long leg, but can miss shots. I'll tell you what, I'll let you do all the Jake Moody bashing because I can't do too much Jake Moody bashing, and here's why. Because when I was at that Super Bowl, you had a lot better seats than me, by the way. But when I was at that Super Bowl, when he was lining up for that deep one, that 56-yarder or whatever it was, I said a little prayer. And I said, if this goes in, I'm going to forgive him for the extra point that was missed. And I'm going to be a little nicer to Jake Moody. And it went in. So I got to keep my word for that little prayer that I gave there. But that was.
I don't want to bash Jake Moody. Like, that's like the lowest hanging fruit of all time. I consider myself, I like pulling up from half court. You know what I mean? Like, I like taking shots from deep range, and that's a layup. Yeah, that's the easiest. So, like, Jake, good luck. I don't need to take that layup. You know what I mean? It's hitting a guy when he's down. I like to kick guys when they're up. It's way harder.
Yeah. You mentioned the Niners kind of would love people to believe that it's mainly injury issues, or that's a bigger piece of the pie. I may be wrong on this. Sometimes you're like on the internet and you like peripherally see a story. You don't really click it, but you see the headline. Did I see something about like, oh, Moody's going to be good this year because he's got a great rapport with the long snapper and the holder and they're all working? I was like, wait, is that an indirect accusation that his whole special teams unit last year was a problem and Wishnowsky is now gone? So first of all, did I see that story correctly? I don't think it was from you. Did I see that story correctly? And could there be anything to that?
I think the Niners do feel, I don't think they felt that Tabor Pepper was a problem. I think Tabor Pepper's out of the league because he would tweet political stuff. And they're like, hey, man, you're a long snapper. Also, he got in that fight. He didn't start the fight. With Debo. So I don't know that they upgraded at long snapper, but I think they feel they upgraded at holder. And I don't have an expert opinion on this, but I think they felt that Wishnowsky or Brant Boyer, upon watching Wishnowsky, that he would get the ball and then put it down in different spots. Ooh. You know what I mean? Like a little left, a little right, a little here, a little there.
Did you witness this yourself? You heard people saying
this? No, absolutely not. It's what I'm in the facility. This is what I heard. Okay. This is what they're saying. So I don't know if it's true, but the word is that Wishnowsky was a little inconsistent with where he placed the ball. But it sounds like bullshit to me. Okay, you got Thomas Morstead in there, and now he's more consistent with ball placement. You know what's still happening? Jake Moody missing field goals. So you can make all the excuses you want to make, man, but he's not the answer. And you're going to come to that realization by like Halloween at the latest. I bet. He's not going to be on this team week 10. I bet.
Ooh, this is on tape. We're going to see. Yeah. We're going to see how it
write
goes
it down. Take a picture.
Jake Moody Pro Bowl. He's going to be retweeting this episode right here.
Yeah, I hope I'm wrong, Jake. Prove me wrong, Jake.
I love it. Hey, we've got two audiences watching this show. We've got your fans watching this show, and we've got Survivor Pool players watching this show. If you're one of the Survivor Pool players and you're like, why have they spent 10 minutes talking about kickers? I'll say it again. The 49ers lost a freaking big Survivor Pool game in week 4 or 5 last season because Jake Moody got hurt and they couldn't kick extra points or field goals. Real quick side note, by the way, that situation happened. I don't know, is Juszczyk the 49ers backup kicker or just their backup holder? Maybe I forget. But here's my question.
Is. You're right. He is the backup kicker.
He's the backup kicker. Okay,
he can kick an extra point. He's actually better at kicking than he is at running the ball.
Shots fired.
Sorry.
All right. This is a serious question. It's silly, but it's serious. We have these 3 preseason games. If you have a backup kicker who's your fullback, every team has an emergency kicker. Why not let that guy get a kick on an extra point in a preseason game? Who is it more valuable for? The kicker who's already getting all these reps in practice? I think I would love to see a head coach be like, surprise, Juszczyk, you're in. Go kick in this meaningless preseason game. I feel like that would be a good time to do that. Why don't more coaches do that?
That's a good idea because, like, you should be preparing for those one or two situations per season that could come up. You can't really prepare for that. You can prepare for that in practice, but why not? I think it's a good idea. And it's not like Jake Moody's going to do anything in a preseason game that changes your opinion of him. It's all going to come down to real pressure in the seat. You let Juszczyk do it. Hey, if he can be your kicker, maybe he's actually be worth the money that you pay him. I'm sorry.
There you go. All right, moving on here a little bit. I want to talk about this 49ers defense. Okay. Gus Bradley, assistant head coach, former Colts defensive coordinator. You've got Robert Saleh, who I respect a lot. I believe you do as well. You got a really good defensive coaching staff. It appears the Niners' philosophy, what I believe they're doing, is saying, you know what? We can use our good coaches to coach these guys up. It's okay that we got a couple rookies on the defensive line. It's okay because we've got a good coaching staff. It's okay that we sucked against the run last year, and we're trusting rookies this year. It's okay that Dre Greenlaw's gone and Hufunga's gone because we've got great coaches. Do you agree that that's sort of their philosophy? And will it work? Can they sort of coach these guys up?
I agree that it's their philosophy, and I do think it can work because Robert Saleh and Gus Bradley, they've done this before. This is what the Seahawks did 15 years ago with the Legion of Boom. They drafted a bunch of players and played them early. The Legion of Boom defense, they were a bunch of guys who were 24 and 25, and it wasn't the most sophisticated defense. They weren't calling a ton of plays. It was just a very fast and athletic defense that would kick your ass. And one of my issues with Kyle as an offensive coach is he's always leaning towards playing older players just because they know his system. I need a running back. Let me re-sign Jeff Wilson Jr., who I've already gotten rid of. Man, come on. You can do better. Why don't you make it work with some young guys who have some juice? And that's what Robert Saleh and Gus Bradley are going to do. So you lost all these guys, but Alfred Collins is going to play his role. He's going to help stop the run. Michael Williams is going to play his role. You got guys like Tatum Bethune and Nick Martin at linebacker who are going to be effective. You have all kind of I actually think the depth on defense is good. It's just a bunch of young guys you've never heard of. And I trust Robert Saleh with young guys. I don't trust Kyle Shanahan with young guys because he doesn't want to play young guys. He's prone to play the 30-year-old because he looks at football or offensive football as like a test. He's going to play people based on who can ace the test on Friday. What's your assignment on this play? Man, I don't know, but I run a 4.3 and I'm explosive. Can you get the ball in my hands? I don't know. If you have an A+ on this test, maybe. I want to see Kyle be more like Saleh, man. You need to embrace the youth movement because your offense, George Kittle 32, Jake Brendel 33. Trent Williams 37, Kyle Juszczyk 34, Christian McCaffrey 29, Demarcus Robinson 31. It's just old. Come on, you got to get some youth in there.
All right. We talked about injuries with this team. Give me two guys. If they go down, be careful. You may not want to bet the Niners the next week, even if they're playing a shitty team. Who are the two most important guys that they can't afford to lose because of the lack of depth behind that guy?
I would have said Christian McCaffrey before this morning, but now I think they can survive a week or two or three without him because Brian Robinson Jr. is a really good running back and their scheme is good. So not Christian. Even Brock. I like Mac Jones. He's hurt right now, but I think he's a really good fit in the offense. I think he can execute and win if everyone else is out there. I don't think they can win a game without Trent Williams. Maybe they could beat the Panthers, but without Trent, it's like a domino effect. They're a run-first team. They can't run the ball without Trent. Their whole run game is built around running behind Trent to the left. And once defenses overcommit to stopping that, then they can kind of counter back to the right. And there's a package of run plays they can execute. Without him, you can't run left, you can't run right. You're one-dimensional, and you don't have really a dominant pass protector on the line, and all of a sudden you're in trouble. That's what I think the stat is since 2020 when they traded for him, they're 4-12 without him. And that's with some really good teams. So never, ever pick the Niners to win if Trent Williams isn't out there. And then I wonder about George Kittle too. George Kittle is the second best blocker on the team. He's the number one receiver on the team. If George isn't out there, who are they throwing the ball to? Ricky Pearsall and Christian? That's not enough. So George. And then on defense, I don't know. With Saleh back, it gives me confidence. But without Bosa, where's your pass rush? Now, fortunately, Fred Warner never misses a game. But if Lenore's not out there, who's the backup? Whoever the backup is going to get targeted 15 times. So that's kind of the way the Niners are a lot like the Cowboys.
Greenlaw went out. Like in the Super Bowl when Dre Greenlaw went out, right?
Absolutely. So Lenore's another one. And then, no, if Jake Moody went out, they might be better. I don't know.
If you're just joining us, this is Last Men Standing. It's a Circa Survivor Pool podcast. Hit that like button, thumbs up button if you're enjoying this conversation with Grant Cohn, beat writer for the San Francisco 49ers. Grant, let's dive into this 49ers schedule here. Well, first, before we go deep into the schedule, I'm going to pull it up on the screen. But thoughts on week 1 for the 49ers? A game against Seattle. I'm going to give you some things to think about that are probably already on your mind. Mike Macdonald has made Brock Purdy look the silliest. I know it was with different personnel with Baltimore, but Purdy had that 4-interception game on Christmas a couple years ago. And so I think Mike Macdonald can kind of probably come up with a good game plan against Purdy, who's going to be down some weapons. Kyle Shanahan's not a great week 1 coach. He looked great week 1 last season, but he does have a couple week 1 losses. Just something to consider. It's a division game. It's on the road in Seattle. Thoughts on the 49ers week 1?
I like the Seahawks to win that game. Let's look at the Seahawks. Why is Mike McDaniel effective against Kyle Shanahan? Let's just talk from a X's and O's perspective. Kyle is very dogmatic with what he wants to do, and he gets in trouble against a blitz. We saw it in the Super Bowl. Spagnuolo blitzed the fuck out of him. Pardon my French. Over and over again. Yep. And he got like 9 unblocked rushers, and the Niners never really had a real good solution, because what the Niners do is the center sets the protections, and the center doesn't have a great view. How can the center see the strong safety or the nickel back? So the center sets the protections, and instead of going like max protect 7-8 blockers, the Niners always want to do like a hot route. So I want to put 4 or 5 in the pattern, and you bring 5 or 6 rushers. Cool. I'm going to check it down over here and do that. And that works 85% of the time, usually. But if it doesn't, it's like sack or turnover. And I think what Mike Macdonald's good at doing is confusing the Niners. You don't know where I'm bringing pressure from, and you're trying to set the protections, but you got it wrong. And now I got free rusher. And they get that all the time against the Niners. And that's a weakness in the Kyle Shanahan offense. So that's the Seahawks on defense. They had the best defense in the division last year statistically, and they have a really good scheme and a really good coordinator. On offense, they've been a mess schematically forever since Mike Holmgren left. I mean, even the best years with Pete Carroll, it was like Darrell Bevel or Little Schottenheimer, who I still think sucks. Now you have Clint Kubiak. He's a solid coach. He did a good job with New Orleans last year when their quarterbacks went down. He was with the Niners. He's coached Sam Darnold before. I'm not saying he's great, but now you have like a standard NFL coordinator on offense, a good coordinator on defense. They've always been a good organization when it comes to drafting. They always have good young talent. I mean, it's not a team I'd want to face week 1. And the one thing that gives probably Niners hope, Sam Darnold, he sucks. You know what? Sure, he can definitely lose a game for you single-handedly, but they're going to run the ball so much.
And they should.
It's not going to be the same Seahawks offense that you're used to. So I would stay away from the Niners in week 1.
Yeah, they should run the ball because the Niners need to prove that they can stop the run, which they did not do well, especially toward
the Kubiaks are more into running the ball than the Shanahans, I swear. They are. The Kubiaks are serious about that. Kyle acts like he's a run-first guy, but he's a wide receiver at heart.
Yeah. The one way I think if the Niners do win this game, I think it's going to have to be with their defensive line, because Seattle doesn't have a great offensive line. And if the rookies step up and Bosa can be Bosa, I think that is a mismatch that the 49ers can exploit, the pass rush in particular, not necessarily against the run. So,
but what's rough is that Mykel Williams has been hurt for 2 weeks. He would be very important in this matchup. I don't need you to rush the quarterback. I need you to set the edge. And he might be out there, but like, what's he really going to give you week 1?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Very good point. Very good question. All right, pulling up this schedule. So I'm at Circa in Las Vegas, Nevada right now. A large percentage of our audience is in Circa Survivor. It's a $1,000 entry. The guaranteed prize pool is $15 million. We're thinking it's actually going to be around $20 million. So there's a lot of people that are interested in what are some games on the 49ers schedule that are a tease. They look like, and I'm pulling it up for you to help you out here.
I love this question.
They look like they could be wins, but they're actually tougher than you think.
Okay.
For the 49ers. Maybe because it's a couple road games in a row. Maybe because of coaching familiarity on the other sideline. Whatever insight you have, what are some tough games for the 49ers on this season that you would stay away from if you were in a survivor pool?
Okay, I love this question. Week 9 against the Giants. That looks like a layup, right? Freaking Giants. Yeah, but that particular field, the Niners have like PTSD because Nick Bosa tore his ACL on that field, and they all hate it because of the turf. They don't want to play on that field. They get the heebie-jeebies about it. So that's one. And then 2, their defensive line is incredible with Abdul Carter and Dexter Lawrence. The Niners just don't have that good of an offensive line, and Dexter Lawrence is going to dominate. I mean, we've seen what teams with one dominant defensive line can do. I mean, you could win a game just with that alone. And then finally, Russell Wilson, 18-3 in his career against the Niners. He's not what he used to be, but the Niners are incredibly undisciplined always when it comes to corralling a mobile quarterback. They always let Russell Wilson scramble for 15 yards on 3rd and 13 in the fourth quarter. They've done it for 15 years. So that's one game right there. And then an even bigger one, week 13 in Cleveland. You think, oh man, Cleveland freaking sucks. Well, here's the thing. That's November 30th. It could be raining. Brock Purdy can't throw a wet football. That's 1. 2, their defensive coordinator is Schwartz. And Kyle Shanahan, this is a real stat, is 1-9 in his career against Jim Schwartz. Jim Schwartz is the wide 9 guy. He's the reason the Niners run the wide 9 because Kyle knows he can't beat him.
Wow.
So and then like you think like in 2023 when the Niners were super freaking loaded, they lost in Cleveland to PJ Walker? Tucker? Walker? I don't even know. I forget his name. Like he was their 3rd string quarterback and he beat him. Jake Moody missed a kick with the game on the line. So those are 2 right there.
Those are good. And I would argue the 2 Cardinals games because the Cardinals played the Niners really tough last year. That might go without saying.
You don't want to bet against Kyler Murray before Call of Duty comes out. Well, after Call of Duty comes out.
Dude, it's funny you say that.
Week 3? No.
I looked up the date, bro. I looked up the date, and the day that it comes out, the Niners play them that weekend.
Oh,
I swear to God,
it's like 2 days before. He might not have it yet. That's a tough break for the Niners.
Yeah, do you want to play Kyler 2 days after it comes out or 9 days? Because he might be able to lock in for 2 days and be like, all right, I can play on Monday, you know?
Yeah, maybe maybe it hasn't like arrived at his doorstep. Does you still get a physical copy of games or is it all just I'm so old, I don't even know. You're asking
the wrong guy. That's a good question.
I don't even know.
That's a good question. What do you think are some
Then
safe
there's Chicago
spots?
week 17. I don't know what to expect from Chicago, but that's a team that could be pretty good by the very end. Because Ben Johnson, in my opinion, is the best play caller in football. No disrespect to Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan. I think Ben's better.
You think having Gus Bradley on the staff helps a little bit against the Colts, week 16? Helps a little bit against the other, Tennessee, the other teams in that division?
Yeah, I absolutely. That's a great point.
Jags,
yeah, absolutely. He has intimate knowledge of all those AFC South teams. That'll help. I don't think I feel like they should smack Jacksonville week 4. They should smack New Orleans week 2.
I think I wouldn't be surprised if they smack Jacksonville. I think with Liam Cohen going to Jacksonville, I think I have so much respect for that. I go, Ben Johnson. Nobody's talking about Liam Cohen. Do you remember when Chris Godwin got hurt last year for the Bucs? Everybody was like, "Oh, Bucs are going to lose." Dude, that offense almost got better. It sustained, and I think
very good.
Was all Liam Cohen. And I think that if anybody is going to get Trevor Lawrence's potential out of him, it's him.
Yeah, that's a good call. It's
and
fair.
Maybe Trevor Lawrence can't have that potential pulled out of him. And I'm willing to give up on Trevor Lawrence if Cohen can't do it this year. But I just have too much respect for that guy. And I think the Jags could be a little bit of a dark horse this year, personally.
I just don't like picking the Niners very much this year. I feel like the betting public is higher on them than I am. So go pull Tampa Bay week 6. Hell no. Absolutely not. No. Like Houston week 8, stay away from that. Yep. Carolina week 12, sure. Atlanta week 7, go to town. Tennessee week 15, absolutely. But there's only 6 or 7 games on the schedule where I would say pick the Niners with confidence this week. You got it.
I'd say week 2, right? Week 2 is a nice spot. A real nice
Here's
spot.
another thing with the Niners. When they were dominant in 2022 and 2023, when Brock Purdy first took over, they were blowing teams out. Last year, they were playing close games. And they were 1-7 in those close games. Brock Purdy's numbers in the fourth quarter, close games were not good. This was new territory for him. They're going to be in close games again this year. This team is not built to blow out anyone. They're not that good. So again, Do you trust Brock Purdy in a close game with pressure on? And not just Jake Moody, him too, but Brock as well. And not just them, Kyle. It's the whole. Do you trust the Niners when the pressure's on? Because you know what? I don't. I really don't. Really don't.
Point. Good point.
Yeah.
Grant, what's your order? NFC West, top to bottom. How are they going to finish 1 through 4?
If I had felt confident that Matthew Stafford were going to stay healthy for like 15 weeks, I'd say for sure the Rams. Because I feel like we all know there's 4 elite quarterbacks. You don't have to say their names. If there's a 5th guy in that tier, I think it's him when he's healthy. But at the same time, he's my age and he has a bad back. I have a bad back. His is probably worse. That shit doesn't go away. It comes and goes. It comes and goes, and it's unpredictable. And when it comes, it's 2 or 3 weeks. It's debilitating. It hurts. So I don't really feel that confident in them anymore. I actually kind of feel like Seattle is the team that's ascending in this division. Really? I feel like Seattle and Arizona are the teams that are on the way up, and the Niners and the Rams are the teams that are trying to hang on to what they had. So I really wouldn't be surprised if it went like Seattle 1, Arizona 2, Rams 3, Niners 4, Niners 3, Rams 4. I mean, how many games are the Rams going to win if Jimmy Garoppolo starts 12 of them? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, he's kind of shitty. He's not as good as he was 4 or 5 years ago, and he wasn't even that good before. So we'll have to see. A lot's going to come down to injuries, but it just feels like Arizona and Seattle are the young teams with depth that are ascending.
I think Arizona's ascending. I think that their offense has never been the problem the last couple of years. They've got a top 10, 12 offense, depending on how you want to rate
they can run the ball.
And they just completely revamped that defense. Sweat comes over from Philadelphia. He had his best season underneath Gannon in Philly. I think that team is absolutely ascending.
Will Johnson, Calais Campbell, Walter Nolan, like they really added some dudes. And that Jonathan Gannon's a really good coach. And like they've been a shit organization for a long time, but since they added Monty Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon, they've had a steady upward trajectory the last couple of years. From 4 wins to 8 wins, I wouldn't be surprised if they won 11 or 12.
Absolutely.
It really comes down to Kyler. And I think what they've said with Kyler is, look, like we were kind of being safe with him last year. He was coming off a torn ACL. He didn't run that much. He's going to run I think he's going to run a lot this year, like 100 attempts, 130. He's going to try to do what Jaden Daniels did. He's going to try to do what Lamar did. And you know what? He can do it. He can do it. He ran for 800 yards and 11 touchdowns in 2018, or 2019, 2020, one of those years. Sorry.
Yeah.
I know he did.
Yeah, absolutely. Grant, what do you think is, last question here, what do you think is the biggest misconception that other people have about the 49ers? Because a lot of us can't keep an eye on all 32 NFL teams, and we just peripherally read the headlines and see an article every once in a while, and we think we know the team. So what is that biggest misconception about these 49ers?
I think people think that the Niners are an offensive team. You got Kyle Shanahan as the head coach. You have so much money invested in Brock and Trent and Christian and George and Ayuk. But when the Niners are really good, it's their defense. The offense is complementary. They don't dictate anything with their offense because their offensive line isn't good. It's their defensive line that can be dominant. It's their defensive core. I mean, really, it's the engine of the team. And with Robert Saleh back, that's why I can be snarky with the Niners sometimes. Like when Nick Sorensen was their defensive coordinator, I'm like, where are you going with this? This isn't going to work. But now that Saleh's back, they may not have a dominant defense week 1, but by week 8 or week 12, this defense should be really good. And if the offense isn't completely injured, which it might be, there's a lot of old guys, but if the offense isn't completely injured when Ayuk comes back, if the defense is rolling, like watch the fuck out. But we'll have to see how many games they give away in between now and then.
Yeah, how many games Jake Moody, just come full circle and finish with Jake Moody.
Oh,
I tell you what, losing in a survivor pool on a missed kick, especially when it's a short one. A lot of us have experienced that before. That's not a lot of fun. So,
hey, did you see that left-footed kicker for the Steelers yesterday?
I did not. Tell me about it.
He was 4 for 4. He's an undrafted dude. He played his college football at the University of Pittsburgh. They're going to cut him because they have Chris Boswell. How about that dude, Ben Sauls, the left-footed kicker for Pittsburgh, who was 4 for 4 yesterday? I like him, and I know nothing about him, but I'm done with Jake.
Even the dude that they had in competing with Jake,
it's Greg Joseph.
Come on.
Hey, how about someone who's not a head case? Is that okay? It's one request. Not a head case.
I will say this in defense of Jake Moody. there have been some kickers in the league who have struggled early on and have turned it around.
On the same team they were drafted on?
Say that again?
Did they turn around on the same team they were drafted on, or they have to leave?
Usually it's a change of scenery. That's
usually a change of scenery.
Usually a change of scenery.
There's a lot of pressure on this guy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I could do what he does better than him. I'm a head case.
Jake,
I'm a head case too, man. I can't stand any pressure. I suck at golf when when you're at the tee box on the first hole and there's people there watching. I'm like, can you guys turn around? Who the hell asked you to look at me? I suck. So Jake, I feel you on that, man.
Grant had to make a video on the golf course today, last minute, unexpected, and he was under pressure in that situation. We don't need him kicking field goals. But
I had just had like a 7 on a par 3. I'm fuming. Great trade. Love it. I'm having a great time.
I love it. Grant, this was super insightful. Really, really appreciate the time, man. You're the best. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the day, brother.
My pleasure.
All right. Take care, man. All right. That was Grant Cohn, SI.com, 49ers beat writer. Been covering the 49ers for 15 years. He knows that team really well. For those of you who are out there watching this for survivor pool purposes, I hope you got a little something from that interview. I think there were some great nuggets in there. Gave me something to think about when he talked about how that game against the Giants could be a little bit of a trap game. And it's interesting because on yesterday's show, we had Ken Rutgers, former Green Bay Packer, former Super Bowl champion, who said the Packers game against the Giants on the road made him a little nervous. So we've got two people that I trust saying the Giants could upset potential playoff teams. I thought that was quite interesting. Before we go any further, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to Race Oracle. They're one of our sponsors on this show. RaceOracle.com is where you want to go. Wow, I just realized when I pull this logo up, it looks like my head is a horse, and it's kind of cool. I like this. This is awesome. Anyways, RaceOracle.com is where you want to go. They use AI to give you predictions on how horses will finish in races. So if you like horse betting, you're going to see something like this, a recommendation for how to put in an exacta or a trifecta. You're also going to see based on your bet size, based on your bankroll, you're going to see customized bet size based on Kelly criterion. So in this example, you see $1.82 for this horse named Especially Tempting, because that horse has a 22.93% likelihood of winning that race. So if you like horse racing or you're horse racing curious, head on over to raceoracle.com and check them out. And then our other sponsor is, of course, Survivor Sweat. They've been sponsoring us for 2 years. If you want to join this Circa Survivor contest, I know there's a lot of people in California right now who are watching this episode, and you're watching because we just had Grant on. If you want to get down to Las Vegas before the season starts, the Saturday before the season starts, you can enter into the Circa Survivor contest. It is the largest survivor pool contest in the world, in the history of the world, largest legal contest. The guarantee is $15 million. It's $1,000 to get in. If you have any questions about this contest right here, you go ahead and ask me, because I've been doing it for the last couple of years, and it is the ride of your life. It is the greatest contest in the world. I could talk your ear off about how amazing it is, but you'll want to sign up. You'll need a proxy to sign up. And because you're out of state in California or wherever you are, if it's outside of Nevada, you will need a proxy to legally participate in this contest. You go to Nevada, Las Vegas before the contest starts, and then you report your picks to the proxy, and the proxy is your legal representative who puts the picks for you. Survivor Sweat is the folks that do that. They've done that for me the last couple of years. Give them a text at this number right here, and they'll take care of you, get you signed up for the contest. You schedule a meeting with them, be signing up in about 10 minutes. There are people who fly to Las Vegas just to sign up for this contest and then fly back. I'm looking up at the board right now. So far, there's 8,934 people signed up for Circa Survivor. We're expecting to hit that $15 million guarantee. My guess is about $20.5 million is going to be the pool for this thing. So go ahead and check that out for sure. Hopefully we've done something for you guys today. Hopefully you've learned something from this episode, some sort of nugget that you can take with you for your survivor pools. If you can please hit that like button, it is a huge help. I would really, really appreciate it. Make sure and follow us over at the LMS Podcast. That's the Last Man Standing Podcast, at the LMS Podcast over on Twitter. Thank you guys. Hit that like button. Appreciate y'all. Take care.